In today's interview, we're going to be interviewing Georgii Eivas, an Assyrian fighter from Russia. He fights in the MFC, and we're going to be going over his past, present, and future, and where he thinks he's going to end up in fighting. He's got power, he's got speed, and this is going to be a great interview. Stay tuned to the very end. You are literally seeking obstacles. You're putting yourself in a very hard environment willingly.
I always pray. I believe in God.
My hands are shaking a little bit, I'm angry, and then blackout. Do you process what's happening, or is it all just animal instincts take over for you?
I fought with a kid. He was trying to get into a fight with me. He almost lost his vision. Whoever I am right now is because of him. I remember I throw the fly knee and I rocked him. He literally fall on me. This is what I like to do. It's a matter of the time when I'm gonna get to the San Diego and I will get a chance to train with him.
How do you compose yourself, and how do you get back out there when you know all of your losses are public? I'm not saying you're a loser, but I'm saying today I have with me a man who shares Assyrian blood with myself, a great guy, a great fighter, Georgii Eivas. Thank you so much for making the time, man.
Thank you for your...
And I said your last name right, it's Eivas.
Yes,
I pronounced it okay, because I know some people in the past, they had some difficulties pronouncing it, but anyways, when I first met you or heard of you, I had only Instagram to go off of to learn about you. So I'm going through your Instagram, I'm watching your highlights, and I'm thinking to myself, this guy's a savage. You have some crazy knockouts in your Instagram feed, your highlights and all that good stuff. And then I was a little bit intimidated to talk to you on FaceTime the first time that we made the contact. When I talk to you, there's kids laughing in the background. You had to move to a different room because they're all around you. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, this guy's a family man and he can knock anybody he wants out. You're gonna have crazy dad strength one day. So,
thank you.
Anyways, let's get into it. At 12 years old, you started fighting Muay Thai.
Okay.
You're a striker, you're known for your striking ability. What got you into fighting at 12 years old? Could you walk me through how you got introduced to fighting?
So I would say it was all thanks to my dad. Like first time he brought me to the gym when I was like 7 years old. But I trained like for, I don't know, 2-3 months, and after that we moved to other area, and I didn't get a chance to go to the gym because it was too far. And I founded another gym. It was karate. So I started doing karate, but I felt that this is not for me. And I found another gym. It was Muay Thai. And since I was 12 years old, I started doing Muay Thai, and I would say like almost for 10 years. And at some point I felt that this is not enough, and I tried to do MMA.
So you wanted more out of it. You wanted to get into the grappling and the wrestling aspect of the fighting.
I would say the most reason because in Muay Thai we didn't have in Russia like that many pro fights, and I want to become a pro fighter. It was way easier to do in MMA, and there was also more money in MMA because it was more famous, and it was really big at the moment when I just started doing MMA.
And how old were you when you started doing MMA?
It was it was 2016, so like what, 6 years ago?
Okay. So you said that you were from Russia, you're Assyrian from Russia, you're not Russian.
Correct.
And so when you were in Russia, tell me about that environment you grew up in, because when a lot of Americans think of Russia, we think of like a war-torn country, strong working class people, it's a hard place to live. You see the movies like Rocky and Creed where it's like broke down buildings, people running in the streets to train, you know, all of that, the stereotypes. How is that?
I would say it's all stereotypes. I mean, it's, I don't know, it's a regular country. Like, I mean, obviously the economy is like lower than the United States, and opportunities is less in Russia. But like as every other country, like everyone like have fights in the schools, like you know, because kids like they're aggressive, and if somebody is small kid, they're always trying to bully him. But nothing too crazy, nothing like they would say the bears like walking on the streets. No, we don't have that. Like,
no bears on unicycles?
No,
like that.
Or like they would say like everyone drink vodka and stuff like that.
Right.
Honestly, no, I didn't get into that. So
Pretty normal upbringing then.
yeah.
So you said the bullying aspect. When you were a kid, did you ever face bullying and you were like, you know what, I need to learn how to fight to defend myself? Is that something that also motivated you to get into fighting?
I was a small kid, and I always used to be the smallest kid in my class, and obviously everyone tried to pick on me. But I always know how to fight because my dad taught me how to throw 1-2. Okay. So I always could defend myself, but I always tried to avoid let's say the fighting, and they would take that as a weakness, and they will try to push it, and that's when I defended myself, and so far I never lost. Never lost a street fight. Never lost a street fight.
So you would get into fights in your upbringing when you were going in school in Russia. You would get into fights frequently. You would say, and did you have siblings growing up? Did you have anyone that you were very close to if you didn't have siblings? That were your age?
I have siblings. I have brother and I have sister, and the way how my family raised us, like we're all close to each other, and we all take care about each other.
And do they fight too?
No, my sister doesn't fight, but she always had that like fighting spirit.
Right.
My brother, he used to be a pro fighter, and right now he just trained for himself, but. Since we got here to the United States, it was 4 years ago, and he kind of stopped training, and after that, like he gained weight, and then he had motivation to start training again, to lose weight and get back in shape, and now, like I can see he has that fire in his eyes. He wants to compete again.
So, okay, you say you have the fighter spirit. You had a brother who also fought. When you guys were growing up, was there ever that competition? Who could see who's better than who? Or were you guys?
That was always there.
Always fighting?
It was always there, because like we literally had one day, we were doing abs, and I don't know, we did like more than 500, because I was telling him like you should stop, because I'm not going to stop.
More than 500 sit-ups, you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Wow.
And he wouldn't stop, and I wouldn't stop. Or like, for example, we're working, drilling or whatever, sparring, and we would ask each other, are you tired? And he would say like, no, I'm not tired. I still can go. He's like, how about you? Are you tired? I'm like, no, I still can go. But to be honest with you, we were both exhausted, but we didn't want to
you don't want to admit it. Yeah, you don't want to admit it. You can't show weakness. Was there ever a time when you guys were sparring and it got serious? You're like, hey, you checked me too hard. Now I got to get you back. And did it ever escalate to the point where it got serious? Or was it always friendly competition?
Well, honestly, like we fought a few times. Like, to be honest with you, my brother always had better hands than me. And he was faster than me with the hands. And he had longer reach.
Right.
So for me to get to him, I would like start going harder. I was stronger than him, and that's why, like, technically I would lose to him, but just because I was overpowering him, and I would start throwing hard, and then we start fighting, and it wasn't like so much technical. It was just pure, I would say, power, like trying to knock each other out.
Yeah. The reason I asked that is because the majority of the time there's always someone there that's always you want to out-improve, outwork, and it's always good, especially if it's a brother. I have a little brother myself, and we're always head-on with each other and stuff like that. So I understand completely when it comes to that stuff. That's interesting. So outside of fighting when you were 12 years old, before you got to the point where you started fighting seriously, how were you in school? Were you an aggressive kid? Were you shy side? How were your teachers talking about you?
Honestly, I never had aggression towards anyone, and nobody knew that I'm actually like training or I'm an athlete, because when I was in the 6th grade, I really like start training serious, and I had mentality that like one day I will become a champion and pro fighter. So and I was such a shy person. Like I had like 1 or 2 friends, and I don't know. And when people start to know me, like literally first time when people notice it, it was I won the Russian competition, Russian tournament, and they show me on the international, on the Russian TV.
How old were you?
I was like 14.
Okay.
14, and one of my classmates, she was like having a breakfast, and they start showing me and talking about me in the news. And she came in the school. She was like, "Oh my God, guys! Did you guys know that Georgii is a like athlete and he won the Russian competition?" And they were showing him on the TV. Did you guys know? And they were like, "No, we didn't know." And they all like, do you do Muay Thai? You train?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like, "How long you been doing?" I'm like I don't know, like four years probably, like that.
So you never talked about it before that the only way
No.
that they found out is because of televised
yeah,
event?
pretty much.
So you were on the shy side, and what were your teachers saying about you? Did they ever see you fight? Did they ever see you in a school fight and they thought there was anything there?
No. I mean, I had a few accidents. I would say like I fought one time when I was like in the 9th grade. I fought with a kid. He was trying to get into a fight with me. Like he was like going after me for a month, and then when I decided to fight him, like he was really bothering me for the whole month and like trying to bully me. So when I fought him, I almost like he almost lost his vision because I kicked him in the face, which I should have done that. But whatever happened, and when they called his mother and the principal came, and I had such a big trouble at the moment at the principal office. But then my teacher came, and she's like, "What happened?" She's like, "Well, Georgii got into a fight." And I told to my teacher, I told her that he was bothering me. He was trying to get a fight with me for the whole month, and when I decided to fight him, that's what happened. She's like, "Well, I can believe him." And she said that your son, to his mother, he is a bully. Everyone knows him as a bully. And I know Georgii for like 5 years.
Yeah.
And like I never had a problem with him. Like this guy is the most quiet guy, and he has such a nice behavior. Like
Your reputation perceives you, man. So that's good that you had that reputation growing up, and you still have that today. So that's great that you didn't change because of that. Because the majority of the times when you go and you see these fighters, right, they have this attitude where it's like, I'm big, I'm bad, I can destroy anybody. The Conor McGregor attitude,
Right.
stuff like that, you know. So okay, you said that when you were growing up, your dad always instilled this mentality of being a fighter, that fighting spirit. Is that something you have to be born with? Or is that something a person can develop over time? Did you have to develop that? Was there ever a time where you didn't like fighting and you grew into it, or were you always this way?
Let's say when I was a kid, I always used to scared of getting into a fight. And my dad is from Iraq, and he grow up like literally every day fighting, and he's such a brave man. And I don't know, he's the person that I'm looking up to, and he is my hero. And he literally taught me everything, and that's whoever I am right now is because of him. Like I would never get into a fight if it wasn't for him, because every time when I would get beat up in the school or whatever, he would literally give me more punishment. Like he will kick my ass more, and he said, "Now go back and beat this guy who beat you." And because he knew I'm a strong kid,
you can take it.
Yeah, not take it. I can defend myself, but I was scared of. I was scared. Basically, I was scared, and I didn't want to fight. I would just get beat up, and I would come home crying. I would get my ass kicked again by my dad, and I was like, I would rather to try to fight and get kicked or like lose the fight, but at least I would try to fight. But every time when I was fighting, I never lost the fight, and I literally, everyone who was bullying me, I beat all of them just because I wasn't scared. I was scared to come home to get ass kicked by my dad.
That's the worst one, right?
Exactly.
A lot of people nowadays will be hearing that and being like, "Oh, you can't, you're a kid," but look at how the toughness is developed, right? Sometimes I think the bullying is actually a good thing because it makes people learn from what they're afraid of and then develop themselves. Because when I was younger too, I would get bullied for being overweight, easy targets as the fat kids, right? So, and then when I would get into altercations, my legs would shake, I would get nervous, and I would be scared too. So, okay, based on your answer, that fighting spirit can be developed, and that's something we share in common. My dad, same exact thing, that strongman mentality. Without him, that I would not be here. And yeah, that's something that we share in common, so that's great. Dads are amazing,
that's nice.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
So let's go into now, fast forward to your amateur career before you're in the pros. Okay. Mm-hmm. 2016, you competed in a tournament called the Cup of Rostov. That's
MMA competition. That was my actually first. I literally started doing MMA. Mm-hmm. I don't know, like I would say 1 month or less than a month, and there was competition coming up, and I had 3 fights at that night, and I won 2 of them. And when I went to the final, the guy was very. His name was Ismail Jabuev. He was very advanced or.
He had more experience?
Exactly. He had more experience than me. He was an MMA fighter. Like he had good grappling, good wrestling. And in the fight, I literally rocked him like multiple times. And the guy had concussion. And I just lost by point just because he was taking me down and holding me down and just getting points. But as long as we were like on the feet, I was landing some vicious punches and kicks. Also, like I remember I throw the fly knee and I rocked him. He literally fall on me and just grabbed my legs and he took me down because I didn't have experience how to defend the takedowns, how to defend a takedown. Yeah. And he literally won by a point, by decision. I have a picture of that fight. Like I was standing like upset, but the guy was literally barely standing. He had a cut on his face, like I think few cuts, and after the fight he was throwing up because he had concussion. And then it was funny because after the fight I was walking next to him and he's like, my friend, tell me, because he was having armbar and triangle knee. He's like, what kind of hands do you have? Are they like with elastic? They don't break. They don't break.
Yeah.
He's like, no, they actually like they hurt pretty well, but it's like it was all my willpower. Like
yeah, you have to fight through that.
Yeah, I my mentality, never give up.
So you're actually fighting two people in the ring at the same time, right? You're fighting the guy who's throwing the punches, and then you're fighting the guy inside your head. So is there ever times where you're talking to yourself in a fight and you're thinking, I should not tap out, but like I kind of want to end this fight early. I don't think I can do it. Or are you constantly reminding yourself, I got to keep going, I got to keep going, I got to keep going? Or is it just you're laser focused on that guy the whole time?
Honestly, when I'm in the fight, I don't have any thoughts. I already have, let's say, like before every fight, I have a camp, and everything. Well, that's for the pro fights, right? Mm-hmm. For the amateur, because it's like more than one fight, I'm just trying to prepare everything. But for the pros, I know who is my opponent. I just know what he's doing, what he's good at it, and I'm in the camp. I'm just like, okay, against this opponent, I'm just gonna do this and that, and I'm gonna drill that until it's gonna go to my muscle memory. Okay. And when I'm in the fight, I'm not thinking what I'm doing. It's all reaction.
Oh my God, I was literally about to ask you this. Okay.
It's all about reaction, and it's all about like muscle memory.
So that I want to get a little bit deeper into that, because in no way, shape, or form am I comparing myself to you. No way. But I wanted to preface that before I go into this little story. When I got into one of my first fights, someone in my family was threatened, and I had to step up, right? And in the middle of that fight, or before the fight started, there's a fear of anxiety, there's adrenaline running through me, my hands are shaking a little bit, I'm angry, and then blackout. My body just takes over. I'm not thinking. It's all, I'm flowing. That's it. It's all animal instincts at that point. When you're in a fight, like you said, your body, your mind, it's just your reactions, right? Your mind goes numb. When you're getting hit, do you process what's happening, or is it all just animal instincts take over for you? Are you ever in a fight and you see something coming before that and you're processing, oh, I've seen this in training, or is it, nope, my body's just gonna take over, I'm not thinking?
There's sometimes I'm not even processing, and sometimes I process whatever is gonna happen next or whatever my opponent's throwing. It's like all depends on the situations. Like I remember, not my last opponent. Before that, like I had an opponent that he threw 1-2, and I didn't even remember that I literally did the drop step and I throw the cross, like split cross while he was throwing his 1-2. And when I was rewatching it, I was like, "Oh my God, I did that! This is just insane."
Yeah.
But I remember with my coach, we were practicing that. Like I would throw 1-2 and I will drop step, because like I know after my 1-2, like just straight punches, he will also answer with something like basic, also 1-2. But what happened? I was drilling that drop step with a like take to the side because he was southpaw. Like we were waiting for his cross, and literally I did that on muscle memory.
Perfect
like
timing on it, yeah. Okay, so it's the majority of the fight, it's muscle memory. Good to know. Because when I'm watching as a spectator, I'm thinking to myself, how focused are you into the point where you can actually process what's happening? How much of it are you actually thinking during the fight? Because, for example, I was a basketball player, and a lot of the times when you're playing basketball, you have to see people coming on the other side of the court. You got to run plays. So I guess sport to sport, it varies. So, okay, that's good to know. When you are preparing for a fight, you're the few select men in this world who you are literally seeking obstacles. You're putting yourself in a very hard environment willingly. You're going to go out there and you're about to potentially fight. You could be very injured, and you're very well capable of inflicting damage to the other person as well. What do you have rituals before you go into a fight? Meditation, prayer? What are you telling yourself before you get into a fight, knowing that you could get hurt and putting yourself in one of the hardest positions a man can today?
So I always pray before my fight. I would pray and ask for God's help, because I believe in God, and that's one of things. Like before my fight, I will pray, and the second one, because of adrenaline, I will take a deep breath, and literally what I would do, like I would scream, I don't know. I would just show it like, but loud. So that's makes me calm down, because obviously before the fight, like I have adrenaline and
nerves,
exactly. Yeah. And that's what makes me calm down a little bit. And also before the fight, like I'm warming up with my coach, and we're going through all the basic stuff that what we're gonna do. And I will have also shadow boxing. Like I imagine what I'm gonna do in the fight during literally from first minute, what I'm gonna do in the first minute until the last minute of the fight.
Okay, so you have the prayer, no meditation?
No, I don't meditate.
Okay, good to know, because a lot of the times when you're putting yourself in a very high stress environment, people crack under the pressure. If you guys are enjoying this content, really quickly, please leave a like, comment down below what your thoughts are so far, and hit the subscribe button. Thank you. So you told me before this interview that you don't actually watch too much UFC fights. You don't like to, on your spare time, involve yourself into fighting. You try to remove yourself from it a little bit because you don't want your whole entire life consumed by the same thing over and over. Is there anybody out there in the UFC, though, that you look up to, someone you aspire to train with, be like, anything like that? Is there anyone out there you want to aspire to be like?
Obviously it's going to be Assyrian fighter Emmanuel Romanous, because every Assyrian person knows him and everyone looks up to him, and I'm also one of them who looks up to Emmanuel Romanous. And matter of the time when I'm gonna get to the San Diego and I will get a chance to train with him. So.
That's in the books. You're gonna be able to train with him soon.
Yeah. No, we didn't book yet, but I believe I will go to San Diego on July 23rd. I will compete, and maybe I will have a time go stop by, and train like 1 day or 2 days. But my goal is to actually book a trip for 1 week or 2 weeks to San Diego and train with Emmanuel Romanous and have a full camp.
Yeah, very nice. I mean, you guys do have a lot of things in common. You're both very kind and humble people, which is actually very hard to find in fighters. That's not a typical aspect or characteristic to have. Like I was saying, the ego part of it. When you're a fight, it's hard for people to calm themselves down and humble themselves and fully be capable of doing what any other fighter is. So you guys share that aspect. I had the pleasure of meeting him a few times, and he's just one of the nicest people I've ever met, honestly. So was there ever a time, though, where I think you have the story to tell about it, actually, right?
Yeah, I have one story.
Yeah.
You said, you guys have a lot of in common, which remind me, me and my grandma, we went to Assyrian cafe, and we were just having a lunch, and the waitress, she came up to me. She's like, "I think I know you," and I was like, "Maybe I just had a fight, and a lot of Assyrians, they were reposting you, so maybe you saw." She's like, "Yeah, I think so. Aren't you Emmanuel Romanous?" And I was like, "Oh, no, I'm not Emmanuel Romanous.
That's a compliment.
Yeah. Well, obviously, she probably saw my cauliflower ears and she thought that's like I'm Emmanuel Romanous, and I was like, no, I'm a completely different person, but I also do MMA.
Right.
And the crazy part that a lot of people, because I go to the church, like every Sunday I go to the church, and I had a lot of times people would come up to me and they were like, "Hey, aren't you like Emmanuel Romanous, or aren't you like Emmanuel Romanous' cousin, or like are you somehow related to him?" I'm like, no, I'm not related to him, but I just know him through Instagram.
Yeah.
I never met him yet. It's hopefully I'll meet him and I'll get a chance to train with him.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. Honestly, seeing you one day also fight in the UFC, I don't want to see you guys fight each other.
No.
That's something.
Honestly, we'll never fight each other because we're in the different weight class. He's on lightweight and I'm featherweight. I'm in 145.
Got you. No, that's a good way to keep each other apart, because that'd be hard to pick a side to who to root for. I don't want to see that. But okay, let's talk about something that I think a lot of people have on their minds that don't understand the world of fighting, right? A lot of people in this world who are fans of fighting look at records, and not even fighting, but sports in general, right? You look at the 72-10 Bulls, and they think that's the greatest team that ever existed because they had that many wins, and then they won the championship. You think of Floyd Mayweather, who's 50-0 in his professional career when he was actually fighting for real. That 0 in the loss column is what a lot of people look at to determine if you're good or not. What they don't understand is when people lose, there's two types of men in this world. There's the men that have the victimhood mindset, where as soon as they lose, they cry and they say, "Oh, woe is me. Why is life so unfair? This is so hard. It shouldn't have happened this way." And then there's the guys, like the fighters who you are, where there's a fire lit under your ass. You claw, you bite, you fight, you kick, you scratch. You will not give up. You will fight all the way to the top to minimize the chances of you ever having that feeling of loss ever again. You are now 7-5 in your professional career. Those 5 losses are public. They're not private.
Sorry to interrupt you. I know it's 7-5, but it's not 7-5 yet, because my last fight, I fought against Toby Too Quick Message. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. It's not on the record yet.
Oh, okay.
It's just we contested because the referee disqualified me. Because
I want to save that for a little bit later on. We'll get to that for sure. But I want to ask you this important question first, because I think it's important. I want to hear your answer for this. So let's say now you're 7-4, your professional career, until the decision is made.
7-4, 7-5.
So those losses, when you lose, what is your mindset going into a loss? How do you recover from it? What are you thinking? And then how do you get back into the octagon to keep fighting?
Well, honestly, losses, it's always hard and it's heartbreaking, but sometimes it is what it is. You just need to get back to the gym, look at your mistakes, and go back at there again. Like, for example, I had my loss against Chris Garner. He knocked me out in like first 30 seconds, and like a lot of people after a hard knockout, like flash knockout, they don't come back. What I did, I took a rematch after like less than 2 months, right? And I literally destroyed the guy.
Yeah, you killed him. You won by TKO decision, I believe?
Yes,
yeah.
I won in the first round. He tapped out because I was on him, punching him.
Yeah.
Like, he just literally gave up. And the whole round, I was dominating him for the whole like 3 or 4 minutes, and then he just gave up. For me, I know for myself, I will never give up if somebody like hitting me or kicking me. Like, the way how to stop me, it's only like if you gonna, like, I don't know, choke me out or knock me out, right?
That's the only way.
That's the only way. That's
but
right.
So this is my question. Your losses are public. They're not private. Right. Meaning, I'll explain. A lot of people in today's world, in America, we live a very cushiony life, right? When people, like how Joe Rogan says, the hardest thing that's ever happened to you is the hardest thing that's ever happened to you. So when people grow up in this cushy environment, nice, soft, politically correct environment, a lot of people, the hardest thing to them is not getting 100 likes on Instagram. To them, the hardest thing is missing the bus to go to school. To them, it's not getting the video game that they want. Your losses are public, and you're getting hit, and it's on your record, and that record is attached to your name forever. How is it different when you lose publicly? Do you have the people, the audience in the back of your mind thinking, okay, people saw me lose? How do you compose yourself, and how do you get back out there when you know all of your losses are public and not happening behind closed doors? Because when people lose the majority of the time, it's happening behind closed doors. Nobody knows that they lost. They lost in secrecy. They lost when nobody was watching. So they're happy with that because nobody thinks that they're a loser. I'm not saying you're a loser, but I'm saying when you lose, how do you deal with that when all eyes are on you?
Let me tell you that, like, I'm not doing that for somebody, and I don't care about somebody's opinion, what they think about it, like about my losses or whatever. This is what I like to do. I love whatever I'm doing. Like, I love fighting, and I'm good at it. And yeah, I have 4 losses, and my first 3 losses were against the guys that there right now. One of them, he competing in the UFC. The other one is like champion of ACA, which is the biggest organization in Russia. And the other one is also champion of Fight Nights, also one of the biggest organization in Russia, which is, for me, it's like me as a making my debut against those guys, just to step out in the cage with those guys, it's already a win for a lot of people. But I'm not trying to find the excuse or like try to like say, oh, I lost against the good guys. No, what I did, I get back to the gym and I start sharpening my striking, and I start working on my wrestling to become a better fighter. And right now if you're 2016 Georgii and 2022 Georgii, completely 2 different athletes.
Right. So getting back to the disqualification fight, where you guys are attesting the results of it, the decision is that the referee claims that you were hitting the back of the head in your last fight that took place last week on June 10th in Hawaii. Talk me through what your process, what your mind was in that fight, when the referee called the decision, and what it is now. Do you agree with his assessment? What do you think about it?
So when I was in the cage and when the referee called that he said that I disqualify you for, like, because I throw elbows back on his head, and I told him okay, I honestly like don't agree with you, but I will have to rewatch that fight, and if I'll see that I hit it on the back of his head, I'll leave it however it is, like disqualification. But if it's not, then I will contest it. And I saw the fight after, when I calmed down. I literally, today is what, June 18th. I literally just like saw like few days ago, not right away after the fight when I'm still hot, like and emotional, like when I calm down and I start rewatching that like multiple times on slow motion, and I was watching it, there wasn't any elbows or any punches on back of his head. The shots were coming on the side of his head, and he was grabbing back, like literally every time when I would like throw elbow on the side of his head, he would grab his back of his head, that he was showing to the referee that I was hitting back of his head, which is, he was Hawaiian and the referee was also Hawaiian, and the whole organization was in Hawaii. By the way, the promotion Trinity, the promoter of the Trinity King, he wasn't agree with the referee decision. But usually what's referee decision, whatever he's making decision, it is what it is. So like you can't contest it at the moment.
Do you think that it was just incompetence, as in the referee didn't know what he was doing, he sucked at his job, or do you think it might have been fixed?
Honestly, don't know. Like they said that he's a really experienced referee, Bellator referee, but me, I saw him first time. I don't know him as a referee, and I think, what was it like, because I was in his hometown fighting the Hawaiian star, and obviously like they all try to
have favorites.
Yeah. They all have favorites for Toby. So, and I was like outsider from, like I'm from Russia, and I came from Dublin. Like I didn't have anyone in that stadium who was cheering for me. Everyone was cheering for Toby, and it was just like that. They disqualified me.
So there's clear video recordings of the fight. They're going to go back and review it. How long do you think it's going to take before they make a decision on that? Is it usually a long process?
So we already contested, and they got back to us, and they said that it's going to take 2 weeks. I think we sent it them like in 2 or 3 days ago. So
if they agree that the referee made a bad decision, what do they put that as a tie?
They could give me the win, or they will call it as a no contest.
Okay, great. Well, hopefully it works out in your favor, because anybody watching that fight, clearly you saw that you were dominating. You postured up on him multiple times, and he was close. I think that was a very cheap shot signaling to the back of the head, but it is what it is, and you just have to keep going.
One more thing, I would add it, like I felt that he gave up on this fight. Like after those leg kicks, inside leg kicks that I was kicking him, like his leg was already like giving up on him. Like he couldn't walk after the fight, and he had one moment that he had me in the triangle knee. Like I felt that he put all his effort in that triangle knee, and I just escaped like it was nothing. And after that, like I felt like he kind of like, oh man, like I have to like do something again. Like I don't know what I don't know what to do. Like try to win against me, you know. What I felt like he just gave up, and he saw that one of his chances were just to show that I was punching back on his head. So
took the easy way out potentially. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're gonna have to wait and see what happens to that, and hopefully it ends up in your favor, because I do believe that was a clean shot.
Thank you.
Cool. So Georgii, is there anything else that's coming up that you want to really quickly tell the audience that you want to promote?
Yeah, my next fight is gonna be in San Diego. It's gonna be in July 23rd. It's gonna be a tournament. I will have 2 fights. So hopefully I will win those fights. I'm honestly, I always confident in myself every time when I step in the cage or in the ring. I was confident that I was gonna win the fight, but only God knows what's gonna happen. So
Yeah. And do you take sponsors? Does anybody sponsor you?
no, I don't have sponsors, but I'm always looking forward to it. If somebody wants to sponsor me, I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, well, if you're in the Assyrian community, or not, but preferably, if you want to support your fellow Assyrian, please go ahead, reach out to Georgii Eivas on his Instagram account. You can reach him at...
It's
your name?
Yeah, Georgii Eivas. My Instagram is Georgii Eivas with one I. Georgii, Georgii, Eivas, Eivas.
All right, we'll put it on the screen too so people can see that.
So just follow me, text me, and I usually always respond to everyone who texts me on Instagram.
Cool. So Georgii, I actually have something for you, and if I could please get that from behind the scenes. Thank you so much, Stephen. Don't let him see what it is yet. I want to reveal it to him. So we wanted to keep the Assyrian thing going, the Assyrian pride going. And we had two Assyrian siblings, Raman Werda and Isabel Werda from Arizona, who I commissioned them to make you a custom piece. So you may recognize this. There was a scene from one of your fights that I saw on your Instagram account that I thought was so impressive I wanted to encapsulate it for you in memory. Is your fight against AJ Bryant, I believe.
Oh my God.
Of you hitting him right before you knocking him out.
That was actually the fight that I was talking about right now, that I said I literally... I knew that he's gonna throw 1-2, and I literally throw.
That's the counter. Could you show it to the camera?
Yes, right here, split cross, and I got right on his chin, and he went down.
And then you hit him with the 2 tomahawk hits at the end, and the referee calls the fight.
That's amazing, guys, and I love the Assyrian fight.
Yeah, we had to keep the pride of it going, man.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. That's yours. They signed it on the back as well, so huge shout out to them. They worked really hard on that. They did it at a very short time crunch. They're very busy people, and I appreciate them making the time for that. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you, guys. Ramia, how to say it right? I'm sorry.
Raman and Izzy Werda.
Ramen and Easy Water. Thank you so much, guys. This is amazing. I love it. Thank you.
Okay, Georgii, and then I have 2 more questions for you, and we can wrap this up, all right?
Okay.
So just a fan question, just out of curiosity. What's the most dangerous situation you've ever been in besides being in a fight?
When I was a kid, I always was weak kid, and I was sick, and we were in the doctors, like the doctors couldn't understand what was my problem. And one time I took a flu shot or vaccine shot, whatever, in the school, and I had allergic reaction. And after that, I had a huge fever. And when I went to the hospital, like I couldn't breathe, and they give me the adrenaline shot. Like I was literally in the hospital room, like, and there was a small kid with me, and I was literally choking out and couldn't talk. And I said to the kid, "Hurry up!" Like barely speaking, and I told him, "Doctor, like call the doctor." And he ran to the doctor. Then the nurse came, and she looked at me, and she ran to call other doctors, and they brought the adrenaline shot. They put the shot like under my muscle. It was such a burning, like it was really burning painful shot.
Wow.
And then after that, like I started breathing. So
wow, he saved your life.
Yeah, at that day I almost died.
Wow, man. How old were you? I'm sorry.
I was 14.
Wow. Okay, so about the same time you started fighting, around that age.
Yeah. Because I was very small kid, 14, 15 years old. I was like 100 pounds kid.
I see. So last question, man. Who are you fighting for? Are you fighting for yourself? Are you fighting for a career? Are you fighting for your family, nation? What is it? Who are you fighting for?
First of all, I'm fighting for myself, and I also want to make my family be proud of me. Like one of my biggest dreams, just for my dad, say that this is my son and I'm very proud of him. So this is what I'm doing, and also I like to do that, and I'm enjoying every time when I'm stepping in the cage. So for me and for my family.
Yeah, man. Well, you know what? That's something me and you both have in common. Hey, man. Thank you so much for making the time.
It was a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure, brother. So if you guys enjoyed that, please like and subscribe. Share this. Leave a comment down below what you thought. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys next time. Bye.